There's a sting in the tail in this week's episode as we take a look at the basics on a big bot with a big history. SCORPONOK! The original SCORPONOK toy was released in 1987 and transformed into two alternate modes, a scorpion and a defense base. Characterized as an exceptionally cruel bot who delighted in the corruption and exploitation of others, SCORPONOK was leader of the Decepticon Headmasters, Transformers whose heads disconnected and transformed into partner minifigures that piloted their alternate modes. SCORPONOK's partner was Lord Zarak, the leader of a faction of evil aliens from the planet Nebulos, and he also came packaged with Fast Track, a Decepticon assault buggy designed to interact with his base mode. SCORPONOK was one of 4 giant city-size Transformers released in the original toy line, and at 14 inches in height, he was one of the tallest figures in the entire series. But the toy was still substantially shorter than that of his rival, 2-foot-tall Autobot Headmaster leader Fortress Maximus. SCORPONOK was one of the most significant villains in Transformers media in the late 1980s, often rising to the position of supreme Decepticon leader, with each series that he appeared in taking its own unique approach to the character. In the Marvel comic book, for instance, SCORPONOK wasn't a giant city robot, but simply a regular-sized Transformer who commanded his own unit of Decepticons. He and his troops relocated from Cybertron to Nebulos in response to a message from Lord Zarak, a corrupt Nebulan politician who desired their help in ridding his planet of Fortress Maximus's Autobots. SCORPONOK's forces bonded with Zarak's followers as headmasters to accomplish their goal. The mental fusion between SCORPONOK and Zarak was one of the most complete among headmasters, with SCORPONOK's cruel lust for battle and conquest influencing Zarak's mind, just as Zarak's human emotions influenced his. SCORPONOK later came to Earth and took command of the Decepticons based there by killing their leader, Ratbat. But his leadership proved an unpopular one, resulting in Decepticon Civil War when Shockwave launched an attempt to overthrow him, only for the conflict to be cut short by the attack of the monster planet Unicron. Influenced by Zarak's mortal fears, SCORPONOK agreed to ally with Optimus Prime against Unicron, but in the battle he was hit by a blast of Unicron's fire breath and died in Prime's arms. In the Transformers animated series, on the other hand, SCORPONOK was a giant with a very different origin. Appearing only in the multi-part series finale, The Rebirth, the cartoon version of SCORPONOK was built by Lord Zarak out of the Nebulan's own city, and didn't seem to have much of a personality of his own. However, The Rebirth wasn't aired in Japan. Instead, an entirely different sequel series was produced for the Japanese market, Transformers: The Headmasters. In this version of SCORPONOK's story, there was no Zarak. SCORPONOK was the name of the small headmaster, not the giant robot. He was a Transformer who left Cybertron millions of years ago as part of a group of refugees that settled on the planet Master. A cunning and treacherous bot who sought to harness the power of plasma energy, SCORPONOK was banished from Master after he attempted to stage a coup. He and his followers went on to join up with Galvatron's Decepticons, and before long, SCORPONOK overthrew Galvatron and became Decepticon Emperor. His other feats included orchestrating the destruction of Cybertron and constructing a giant robot body for himself, known as a Transtector, to which he connected as a headmaster. In this new form, he renamed himself Mega Zarak and almost succeeded in destroying the Earth itself, until he was stopped when Fortress Maximus destroyed his Transtector. In 1988, SCORPONOK's toy was retooled, recolored, and re-released exclusively in the Japanese market under the new name Black Zarak, representing a new Transtector SCORPONOK built to replace the one he had lost in the Headmasters. As seen in the Super God Master Force animated series, as Black Zarak, SCORPONOK fell under the mind control of the alien energy being Devil Zed, and was summoned back to Earth by his new master to aid in his efforts to wipe out humankind. Devil Zed possessed Black Zarak's body, and transformed him into a two-headed serpent form, but he was defeated and destroyed by the Autobot commander God Jinrai. However, Scorponok himself survived and would reappear in 1990's Transformers Zone with a rebuilt Black Zarak body as one of 9 generals assembled by the new Decepticon leader Violin Jiger. Over the last 30 years, multiple new Transformers series have reused the name Scorponok for evil bots with scorpion modes, but few of these characters have had any real similarity to the original. The first of these new bots was released in 1996's Beast Wars toy line, an evil Predacon with a firing Cyber Bee drone. This Scorponok appeared regularly in the first season of the Beast Wars cartoon, in which he served as Megatron's loyal second-in-command. But he was honestly just a bit of a brainless goon, and never really a significant character, and he was unceremoniously killed off at the start of the show's second season when he fell in a pool of lava. In 2016, the Transformers Collectors Club released a Cybertronian mode figure of Scorponok, and gave him some time in the spotlight in their alternate universe series of prose stories, Beast Wars Uprising. The Scorponok featured in 2004's Transformers Energon was a Terrorcon who transformed into a jet and a scorpion-themed construction vehicle, a proud, defiant warrior who served the alien Alpha Quintesson as general of his Terrorcon armies. In the Energon cartoon, Scorponok and the Terrorcons were created when Alpha Quintesson used the power of Energon to reanimate the dead inhabitants of his destroyed homeworld. Scorponok was patterned after the planet's Grand Chamberlain, and led the Terrorcons in acquiring the additional energon that Alpha Quintesson needed to rebuild their world. When Megatron seized control of the Terrorcons, Scorponok remained loyal to his creator, and acted as a mole for him within Megatron's forces, until Megatron discovered his deception and wiped his mind, reprogramming Scorponok to obey him. The brainwashed Scorponok repeatedly clashed with the Autobot Ironhide, who was determined to make him remember his noble past. But sadly, Scorponok's memories would only return in the final moments of his life, after he was fatally wounded in one last battle with his young rival. Energon Scorponok was a rather different character in Dreamwave Productions comic books, which depicted him and the Terrorcons as disgruntled Decepticons who had allied with Alpha Quintesson in return for power. In this series, Megatron killed Scorponok for threatening his authority. Energon Scorponok returned in 2005's Transformers Cybertron toy line, his toy recolored in Black Zarak colours and re-released under the new name Dark Scorponok. The bio on the toy's packaging explained that following his death, he had been resurrected by the power of Unicron and was now a mindless, undead zombie, in which form he appeared in the Cybertron comic published by the Collectors Club. Introduced in 2007, the live-action movie version of Scorponok was an animalistic transformer, the symbiotic partner of Decepticon helicopter Blackout. He was dispatched to hunt down and kill human soldiers who had survived Blackout's attack on a US army base, but was fended off by a military airstrike. In the film itself, Scorponok didn't have a robot mode, transforming out of parts of Blackout's helicopter engine, but a robot form was designed for his release in the movie toy line. He briefly returned for the 2009 sequel Revenge of the Fallen, in which he was destroyed by Jetfire. 2016 saw the addition of Scorponok to the world of Robots in Disguise, a tough-talking, short-tempered Decepticon intimidator who was among the criminals detained aboard the prison ship Alchemore. After the Alchemore crashed on Earth, Scorponok and fellow escapees Saberhorn and Glowstrike took command of the other prisoners, but his position of power was soon stolen by the conniving Steeljaw after he set Scorponok up by luring him into a battle with the Autobots that ended with his capture. With all these other characters using his name, the original Scorponok hasn't seen a lot of action in the 21st century. His only sizable appearances have been in comics, including new stories set in the Marvel and cartoon universes, and most notably the world of IDW Publishing's comic books. As in the Marvel comic, IDW's Scorponok was a normal-sized transformer. A former gladiator who once briefly usurped Megatron as Decepticon leader early in the war, he later became an interstellar criminal working with alien races to co-develop advanced technology. Injured by Ultra Magnus, Scorponok fled to Earth, where he went into partnership with human businessman Abraham Dante and built a secret organization named the Machination to fund his efforts to develop Headmaster technology. Once perfected, Scorponok and Dante used the process to become Headmaster partners, but their plans to use the tech for world conquest were stopped by the Dinobots. Scorponok later joined up with the ancient transformer Adaptus and used his resources in a bizarre scheme to create organic Decepticons to replenish the faction's depleted ranks. This plot was foiled by the misfit Decepticons the Scavengers, and Adaptus then killed Scorponok for his disloyalty. New toys of the original Scorponok have also been limited. The most notable was an exclusive released at the official convention BotCon in 2014, a recolor of the Energon figure retooled to incorporate a new Headmaster partner, Lord Zarak's son, Olin, who had inherited his departed father's bond with Scorponok. Besides this, it's just been non-transforming figures and side merchandise, plus a Titan Master, just a head with no body, released in the Titan's Return toy line in 2016. However, a huge brand new Titan-class Scorponok figure is coming in 2020 as part of the War for Cybertron Earthrise toy line. Finally standing the same height as Fortress Maximus, this Scorponok is a double Headmaster. A Titan Master based on Lord Zarak forms the head of a robot based on Scorponok's appearance in the Headmasters cartoon, which in turn forms the head of Scorponok himself, with even a new version of Fast Track also available to buy separately. Whether the release of this figure will mean that Scorponok will once again rise to prominence in new media, we'll have to wait to find out. But for now, at least he's risen up enough that he can look Fortress Maximus in the eye at last. And those are the basics on Scorponok. One beast mode, many bots. Tell me about your favourite in the comments. Like and subscribe for more. Remember to click the bell to be notified about future episodes and get early access to them by supporting the series on Patreon.